Shane Oneil's kickflips are like textbook perfect. And today I'm gonna try and break down his technique so an average skater like you or me can learn how to kickflip like Shane Oneil. The thing that really sets Shane Oneil's kickflips apart has to be how controlled he does his kickflips from beginning to end. So today we're gonna analyze Shane Oneil's technique from the jump to the flick to the rhythm of how he does his kickflips so we can figure out how to replicate that same type of control in our kickflips. The first key to Shane Oneil's kickflips is all about learning how to float. If you watch his kickflips, they're really floaty, and this all comes from the way that he bends down and jumps up. So look how good he maintains his posture and his back position all through bending down and exploding up. Being able to crouch down with such good posture allows him to stay fully balanced all the way through the jump. And if you nail the balance as you're jumping up, the rest of the kickflip is really gonna stay in that same controlled, balanced position. One way to practice this is just by doing tuck knee jumps. Just fully jump up and tuck your knees and come down really softly. Learning to balance jumping like that and then trying to incorporate that balance into doing an ollie, and then from there eventually into a kickflip helps replicate that same kind of balance that Shane Oneil has during his kickflips. The next key to Shane Oneil's kickflips is how he flicks his kickflip. Look at Shane Oneil's knee as he flicks the kickflip. Shane Oneil's dragging his foot by leading his knee way out in front of the nose. The reason it looks like he's kicking is that's just the follow through after the flick has already been done. But the reason this is so crucial is because learning to lead your kickflip flick with your knee allows you to manipulate the flick. If you want to flick it pointed down, pointed up, wherever you drag your knee, whatever trajectory your knee has, your foot's gonna follow that, and that's gonna determine how the kickflip shapes. Shane Oneil does this leading with the knee technique almost more exaggerated than anybody else, and I think that's probably why he has such an easy time flicking into trick, because he's able to control and manipulate his kickflip exactly how he wants to. Finally, the last ingredient to Shane Oneil's kickflip has to do with the rhythm. If you watch Shane Oneil, he jumps and flicks really fast. That way, as the board is coming up, his body is already at the peak of his jump and starting to come down. So the upward force of the board meets the downward force of his body and ends up creating that super magnetic catch. As you're kickflipping, just pay attention to where you actually catch the board in your jump. Are you on your way up? Are you at the top? Or are you on the way down? Once you know where you're at, make adjustments to try and flick so that you're catching at the peak of your jump. You should also know that Shane Oneil skates an 8-1-2-5 board. Skating such a skinny board definitely helps with rotating fast kickflips and getting that quick rhythm like Shane Oneil has. It is harder with wider boards, but it's not impossible. And today I'm skating in an 8-5 shape, and I'm gonna see if I can try and replicate that same kind of rhythm and control that Shane Oneil has. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna share one more tip or mental cue that's gonna help you achieve this Shane Oneil type of kickflip. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Okay, let's see if anybody can kickflip like Shane Oneil. Hey. All right, explode up, flick early. It's like a little baby Shane Oneil kickflip. I feel like I'm starting to understand that rhythm though, of really like jumping and flicking quick. Oh, here we go. That might have been it. Let's get a side angle though. Obviously I don't have the most pop, but I feel like that's pretty good. I don't know, you guys rate it out of 10. What do you think? Peggy flip. So the final tip for a Shane Oneil kickflip, and maybe the most important, has to do with your head positioning. So if you look at Shane Oneil, he has his head and really his whole body and weight really heavily over his front foot. And there's two things that this does. One, I don't quite understand, has something to do with the timing. Probably make a separate video about that once I think about it longer. But the second is by having his weight already so far forward, it makes it really easy to get his knee out in front and really flick the kickflip properly. So if you watch when he pops, the nose immediately comes right underneath his leading hip, And if you're leaning backwards, it's gonna be really hard to achieve that position. So putting your head a little bit forward and over your front foot may help you get that position you need to really flick out. And as well, it does do something different to the pop. I know I can feel it. I'm not sure I can explain or articulate it, so I'm gonna think about it more, make a separate video. But I think if you try out some of these tips, it'll definitely help you with your kick flips. I also did a full breakdown of Nigel Houston's kick flips right here in this video. So if you wanna know how the best pros do their kick flips, check out that video. Make every day a Friday, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.